Okay, and then I'm going to make you the host, Rini. Oh. So as I say, I just wanted to say thank you to Rini for being here. I will let her formally introduce herself, but I just want to say Rini is fantastic at what she does. She is a very, very skilled astrologer, and she's going to walk us through some key components of how we can learn about ourselves from our astrological blueprint, I think I'm going to call it. She's probably got a lot better way to describe it, but once we know ourselves from an energetic standpoint, from the standpoint of the universe, we can then use that to inform our journey to really accept who we are and reclaim unconditional love for our bodies. So Rini, I'm going to hand it over to you, and just again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Lizzie. I'm so excited and I'm so grateful for being invited here, and so honored to help out with the book launch, because I was lucky enough to get a copy of the book before it was released, and I just loved it. I loved it so much. And I've always been on this like personal development journey. And so I've studied so much for like health and healing, wellness, metaphysical stuff. I'm an acupuncturist too. I have a master's in social work. So I've really like delved into all different aspects of the healing journey. And to me, it was like, oh, that's the book I wish I had when I was a teenager or 20 or something like that. And so I bought copies for my daughters, for, all the important women in my life. So I was super excited to be asked to participate in this. And like I said, I'm an acupuncturist, an astrologer, and I consider myself an ascension guide. So what I love to do is I love to demystify the mystical. So to make it really accessible for healers, for seekers, for fellow journeyers on that kind of personal development journey, so that we can live our most magical and most purposeful life. So I like to help people reclaim their power, and I like to help expand people's mystical toolboxes. And so, I am a second generation astrologer, which I just this year found out that my great aunt was a really famous astrologer in India. So that was really cool to find out, because I've literally been studying this since I was 9. And what I'm going to do today is show you some tools of how you can use it as a tool, because why use astrology? It's fun, but for me, it's not just about it being fun. For me, it's always been a tool to help me get perspective, for understanding, for self-awareness. A big one is also validation. In fact, most of the readings, when I do them, people are like, it's not like I've told them anything new about themselves. It's like that validation that we get. And also this tapping into something greater than ourselves helps us to kind of surrender into, all that's going on, or tap into, help us accept like divine timing. So we're going to look at pulling your birth chart. So you don't have to know anything. I will give you some PDFs. I'll give you a link for some PDFs so that you have these reference tools as well. So I'll make sure that I can drop those links in the chat. And we're really going to
also share with the group afterwards. So anybody who is watching this recording, then they'll also have those links. So I'll share with anybody who wants them later. So just wanted to.
Yeah, that's great. So so I'll drop those links in the chat. I can also send them directly if you want, if that's helpful. So we're going to pull the chart, and I'll show you through how to find some different elements. We're going to talk about some divine masculine, some divine feminine. We're going to talk about kind of health and healing. So that's what we're going to get into. Let's see. Let me start by, I'll just drop. This is where I get my charts. They're free, and I will walk you through doing that. Oops. Okay. Let me share screen. Okay. Okay. This is not the tab that we're going to use. Okay, so the astro.com, there are other sites. This is just this is the one I've always used. It's really easy to use. It's free. You can choose to have a login and save it, or you can use a guest account. So I really like that. And it's been free for decades. I think they're always going to keep it free. So I do like this one. And you just go to charts and calculations. And then you can either go to, this is like a quick chart drawing or an extended selection. I'm going to show you through the extended selection just because if you were doing it that way, you might be like, what are all these settings? So I'll show you the main ones. I am logged in right now. So we talked about this. We're going to use Lizzie's chart for today. So basically the basic things you want to figure out. Let's see, I'm going to sign out actually for a minute because I want you to see from the full login, or not logging in, but from the beginning, how you can go. So you can just do guest account. So you just go to data entry. Okay, so you just put in the name. 27th of April. Lizzie?
Yes,
Yeah.
27th of April. Sorry, I forgot that I was muted. Yes, that is correct.
And what was the year?
1990.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Where was the city again?
Aldershot, so Aldershot in England. Yeah.
So this is where you can choose different charts. You can do anything here. You can do transit charts, you can do progress charts, you can do like anything, compatibility charts. So we're just going to do natal chart wheel. Web default style for the drawing style is fine. If you wanted to choose another date, this is where you would do it. Under zodiac and houses, you might hear of different house systems. So I keep it on default. Default is Placidus. Other people use different ones. So again, that's, I would keep everything else the same as is. And if there's asteroids or things you're interested in, some people have heard of Lilith or Chiron. We're going to add Chiron just because I think I was going to mention it. So then you have this chart. And when you have this chart, it has all the signs are out here. Then you have the planets are in here, the symbols, and then the houses are the numbers in here. Okay. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. Let me open up the chat box so I can see if you have them. So let's get started. So when you are looking at a when you're looking at a chart, we're going to look at some specific things. And I'll just show you the glyphs for what we're going to look at. Okay. So here are the symbols for the moon that looks like a crescent moon, the sun that looks like a sun, or just, you know, concurrent circles. And then we're going to look at Virgo, which is this kind of M. And then in the house systems, we're going to look at the 6th house. I think we'll also look at Venus. Venus is the one I'll show you on the other on the chart. But it's like when we write for girl, you know, the circle with the plus under it, that is the sign for Venus. So can everyone see the chart again? Hopefully that's what's.
Yeah, we can see it. We can only see the top of it though. Maybe zoom out. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Better? Okay. So when we're talking about divine feminine, divine masculine, I definitely want people to understand that I'm not talking about like any kind of gender or things like that. I'm really talking about these universal themes of masculine and feminine that everybody has. So, you know, when we break it down, they're qualities that everybody possesses, and they really are represented by the sun and the moon. So the sun is like the divine masculine and the moon is like the divine feminine. So when we first, you know, look at the chart, you have Lizzie's sun is right here in Taurus and moon is right here in Gemini. And as I said, this kind of this aspect of divine feminine and divine balance, really we need both, right? We try to balance both. This aspect of yin and yang, maybe you've heard of in Chinese medicine, everything is based on yin and yang, everything in the universe. So you have this yin is the divine feminine and yang is the divine masculine, and they really they're relative to each other. So when we look at that, it's like yin is the dark side of the mountain. That's the translation of the character, and yang is the bright side of the mountain. And so it's just like it's relative in that one's only dark when you look at the light, and they're relative. There's nothing that's, say, inherently bright or inherently dark. Even the sun is, say, not as bright if you relate it to, say, another sun, maybe in another universe, you know, that's brighter, right? So everything's relative. Everything, the yin and the yang, they also need each other. Like they can't exist in isolation. And then they also transform into each other. So I love the example of like extreme heat or extreme cool. If you've ever been so cold, your hands feel hot, or vice versa, ever, you know, where something feels so hot, like it kind of feels cold. So it's like that will happen. They'll transform into each other once they've reached their peak. And then they each have the seed of the other. So it's the same with the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So the qualities of each, you know, with the yin is about, and the divine feminine is about this receptivity, this kind of softness, this gentleness. It's about the dark, right? So the moon is the darker aspect of our 24-hour period, whereas the sun is the, you know, is the brighter aspect. The sun is much more active, whereas, you know, the moon is much more quiet, right? So it's like we're doing our things, most of us doing our things during the day and sleeping at night, or turning things down in any way. So also, you know, the sun is like our outward personality, and then the moon is also more of our inner world. So, so when we look at that, we look at these two aspects, it helps us get a fuller idea of who we are and what the chart is than, say, just reading your horoscope in a newspaper or magazine. So when we look at Lizzie's sun is in Taurus. So Taurus, you know, one aspect of Taurus is like the bull. There's this very like fixed kind of driven personality to that. The other aspect is this earth goddess, this very sensual, enjoys pleasure, loves to kind of bathe all her senses in beauty and, you know, like decadence, things like that. And so, so that's what the sun is kind of amplifying, her light, Lizzie's light, her radiance, things like that. So there's this aspect of sorry, Taurus is like this earth goddess. So there's this embodied aspect to her as well. And then the moon side is more about the emotions and the intuition, our healing, our greatest needs. And so in Gemini, there's this aspect of polarity or duality to Gemini. So there's this sometimes this tendency to kind of go back and forth, or kind of have both extremes. But there's this aspect of being a storyteller and a witness, a magician. And so one thing that I thought was so great was there's this aspect of who she is, because it's in her first house here of her moon, is in this storyteller position, which with her book is perfect. And also with, writing. Gemini is really, writing is a quality for Gemini as well. So I thought that was really great. And, when I look at the charts, I also look at what's their highest vibration. So when we're looking at Gemini and this kind of highest vibration of integrating the duality, there's this aspect of this kind of unity consciousness. There's this aspect really of, of this wholeness that's coming from this place. So we would think looking at this chart that there's a lot of wholeness and healing that happens through telling her story, which is from reading the book is exactly what happened. So I just loved that. But so when you look at the moon sign, and each sign has a different kind of quality. And when you look at the moon sign, you look at the sign it's in, but also the house it's in. So the first house is who we are. And when we find this, like I said, this highest expression of who we are, then it's like when we're living our genius. And so looking at that through the lens of Gemini is this very adaptable, very versatile, very like quick-witted, intelligent, good communicator, really good with people. And the moon is really about, living your magic. And so there's also this aspect of your intuition with the moon in Gemini is also very like telepathic. So also there's aspects of communicating with your guides or things through automatic writing. So there's all different ways you can kind of dive into aspects of your divine feminine. So another aspect that shows us your divine feminine is going to be looking at Venus. So Venus is the goddess of love. Venus is about love, but also about value, about money and finances, also about pleasure, and also about harmony. Venus is seen as like the attractor. So if you're thinking of manifestation and things like that, especially with money, it really is a good one to look at. But it's also about that deeper value inside, right? So if we see ourselves as divine, as the goddess, then that's Venus energy. And so she has Venus in Pisces in her 12th house. So this sign here is Pisces, and you'll have the glyphs in the PDFs. And then the 12th house here is the 12th house is shown right here. So with this Venus here in Pisces in the 12th house, Pisces is actually at home in the 12th house, and it's all about spirit connection. So it's all about connecting with the all that is. There's that kind of wholeness and unity theme that comes through again. And so it's like Lizzie will find her attraction, her highest value, her most harmony by really tapping into that spiritual aspect, excuse me, of herself. what I didn't mention is that her sun here in Taurus is also in the 12th house. Lizzie has a really large 12th and 6th house here. You can see some of these are smaller, much smaller, and these two are a lot bigger. There's some house systems where they're called equal house systems. This is one that, you know, is pretty widely used. And I kind of like to see when things are not just forced into an unnatural state of equalness. So to me, it really shows this emphasis on the 6th and 12th house, which I really want to get into anyway. And this is a great example because the whole aspect of health and healing. So Virgo right here is the sign of health and healing. And the 6th house is the sign of health and healing. So this large house here is all about health and healing. And when I say health and healing, it's like our daily routines, like those things that we do to maintain our health and wellness. And so they could be beyond our physical health. It can also be our mental health. It can also be our spiritual health. So it's very broad in that way. And Virgo is the symbol of Virgo is also this witch and this priestess, right? The witch is this aspect of healer, right? And, you know, it's like a healer needs to first heal themselves. And then the priestess is this, this spiritual leader, right? So Virgo really does encompass all the different aspects of being. So what's really interesting here is that in her 6th house, Lizzie has what's called a conjunction. Conjunction just means on top of each other or together. And she has what's called Black Moon Lilith. And this is Pluto here in her 6th house. So you can look at what's in that house. We'll give it a little bit of nuance or a little bit more specificity. So in that sign of health and healing, Black Moon Lilith is all about like coming into your power, into your deeper power. And Pluto is all about deep transformation. Now, these are in the sign of Scorpio. So as you layer these things, you kind of get a little bit of a story. So what this tells me here is that, you know, that there's been a lot of kind of coming into her power through deep transformation that might have been very intense in the realm of health and healing. And then what's interesting is this is also, if you see the red line across, in opposition to her Mercury, which is all about thoughts, our mental realm. So, so there's probably been a lot of thoughts, healing in the realm of thoughts and transformation in the realm of thoughts that have led to this deep transformation. So Lizzie, tell me, is any of that sound
vaguely familiar? Yes, that is completely accurate for sure. Yeah. Everything that you said is, yeah, if you read the, and when I know you've read the book, when everybody reads the book, they'll be like, oh my goodness, that is so accurate, so on point. Like I've had to go through my own personal journey in order to help others reclaim unconditional love for their bodies. In doing so, you know, I'm sharing my story. And so everything that you have just said, yes, 100%. Yeah, Ginger's so interesting. So interesting. I'm not going to take any more time. Rini, keep going, please.
Yeah. So when you are looking at the chart, so you'll have your glyphs, you'll have, and I'll walk you through the process in a PDF as well. So it's basically, you just start with, you know, what you want to find. So you want to find your sun, and then you're like, okay, you find the house or the sign it's in, the house that it's in. So the sign gives you, like I said, that kind of the flavor or a little bit more specificity. And the house kind of tells you what area of life. So there's like who I am, or my value, my finances, my communication, my feelings, my creativity, my health, my relationship. So this is like other people's finances, or also about transformation, letting go. Ninth is about spirit. 10th is about career and kind of reaching your power. 11th is about community, friendship, truth. And 12th is about kind of connecting to that spiritual, that all that is also the hidden realm, the realm of dreams. So this kind of tells you what area of life, and this tells you, you know, the flavor, the personality, that kind of color to it. So again, if you look at just even the sun, the moon, you can look at what's happening in Virgo. So this is a good example. So in Virgo, you don't have any planets here, but this is a picture, a diagram of the sky when you were born. So everybody was born under the entire sky. So it's not, so we all have everything, just in different amounts. So Virgo wasn't activated by any planets, but there is this aspect of Virgo that is in the 5th house here, which is about creativity, creative expression. So again, Virgos, like I said, it's about the health routines, right? So this tells me of like health routines. It would be good to have creativity as part of some kind of health routine. Now, routine doesn't mean you have to do it every day. It doesn't have to be another thing that you put judgment on yourself or that weighs you down. Routine just means it's just something that you have in your rhythm or flow, that might, that will probably change with the seasons, change with the different phases of your life. But that creativity, like writing, should be a good part of your health routines. And then your 6th house cusp is in Virgo, and that's in its home sign. So that is another aspect that's really, I think, important, that just here it just kind of emphasizes and gives a little bit of harmony to what I would say the intensity, right? Where here it's in Scorpio. So there has been intensity, there has been deep transformation. And then the hidden meaning here, I say hidden because there's no line that's going through this one. But the hidden theme here for your health and wellness is balance, Lizzie. So really reaching some kind of balance. You probably have a tendency to go like swing one way or the other with this moon in Gemini, but really it's all about finding that balance. So balance here, when I talk about balance, I like to share that balance, if you've done any kind of yoga or Tai Chi or any like balance postures, you know that balance is not a steady state. So balance is very much an active process. Balance is this constant micro like movements to try to shift and reshift and rebalance, and and it's like overcompensating and then going back again. So it's this very active process of balance. So I do not consider balance a steady state that we ever reach, because that doesn't exist. Okay, so let's see. I think I would like to ask if anyone has questions before we wrap up.
Don't be shy. I have a ton.
Yeah.
But that's fascinating. When you were just talking about that, for example, I am all about balance, because I would swing one way and the other, especially in terms of my working out. When I worked out, I was very kind of I had periods of my life where I would do way too much, and then periods where I wouldn't do anything, and really that's rebellious act number 8, in my book, where I talk about moving to pleasure and not punishment. So I think that in itself is very fascinating, that you brought that to from my chart, which is really, really cool. So I mean, I'm sure everyone else has a ton of questions and would like to know about their chart. So how can they reach you? How can they get hold of you for one of these sessions and really tap into their chart and get that empowerment that you kind of have from knowing who you are?
Yeah. So I have, let's see, I have a couple things. I'm just going to put some links in the chat. So I have a couple offers going on right now. So the first one I have is a grab bag. It's a digital grab bag for this month of December. They'll all come out. You can order it now. They'll all be released on the 21st, unless you have a different date in mind. But basically it's this digital grab bag. They each have like a meditation. They have a birthday, kind of gift, a coupon. They have affirmation, a card pull, things like that. All sorts of gifts. They're valued at least $50, and they're $22. So kind of a quick and easy, uplifting gift for yourself or for someone else for the holidays. But I also am doing right now, I'm doing the year ahead for 2022, where I will get right back to your question, Ginger, where it goes month by month through all the new moons, all the full moons, all the retrogrades, and gives you you can get a personalized version or a non-personalized version, basically to track the energy for the entire year. And that's that 2022, the guide. So what does it mean when your sun sign and your Chiron are the same? So anytime two planets are in the same sign, it emphasizes it. But again, each planet has a different energy. So the sun is about who you are. Chiron is about, I talk about it like the core wound. Chiron is the wounded healer. And so it's kind of like the wound of all wounds. When you heal that, it becomes your superpower. So, when they're in the same sign, then they both have that extra flavor to it, but in different ways, right? So one is about how you shine your light. So say if they're in Pisces, then your sun sign radiating, shining your light may be about creativity. It may be about connecting into spirit. But with Chiron, a Chiron wound in Pisces may be that's so great. So maybe about, a wound of spirit, like feeling like being betrayed by spirit, really. And also some of the shadows of Pisces can be, and shadow, I don't mean that at all in a negative way. I don't see anything as negative, positive, but the shadow is, as some of the things we have to manage is like addictions or, escapism, things like that, like numbing out. So that's how you would read both of them. Now, if it is together, conjunction, like if they're close within, say, 3 degrees, well, then that is showing that really that wound is also a part of who you are. So, it definitely depends too. Then if you're looking at the house, then you can see like, how does that wound really come up, right? If it's in the 7th house, then that's like comes up a lot in relationships, or if it's in 3rd house, maybe it comes up more in the thoughts or in the communication. So I'll have in that Google, I think I need to add one of the documents for the houses of like where it gives you kind of some keywords so you can actually start to put this puzzle piece together. But really it's like you layer in these different themes and then a story emerges. So if you do want some help, like I said, going through getting it interpreted for you, I have that 2022 year ahead guide. Also for everybody, I have a free tracker to track you can track your mood, you can track your energy, anything. You can track your appetite, whatever it is that you want to track it with the moon cycle. So it has all the moon cycle information, and then a tracker so you can kind of customize it and start syncing up with the moon if you'd like, or just see, is there a difference? So those are some things I have for all of you, and you can find me on Instagram at Rini_mystic_heart. So
Oh my goodness, so much good stuff. I don't know where to start. This is incredible. And I think, there is so much power in just knowing who we are and kind of really sort of pulling that information from our chart. So Rini, thank you so much for going through that with us using my example. I think you're definitely going to have people downloading the tracker. We didn't even get into kind of like moon cycles, but that is I personally found that really, really helpful at another level of understanding. So I just want to thank you again for all of the things that you're authoring and for being with us today. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I just dropped the one for the PDFs because I forgot that. So if you do that, then you'll get all the reference documents to start looking at your own chart.
That's incredible. And I will also, I will take these from the chat and make sure that they're available if you didn't manage to get hold of all of them. So.
Okay, great. Thank you so
incredible.
much, Lizzie, and everybody. And I can't wait for your book to get out to everybody.
Yes, it's so exciting. So if you haven't pre-ordered yet, then the book is available through today, Reclaim the Rebel, and I'm excited to see how that helps you, heals you in your health, and really me living out my chart. So thank you so much, and I will catch everybody soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.